Bureaucrats India webinar. Today we have a very special guest list, all women from the Bureaucracy, and we have gathered here to celebrate the Women's Day, International Women's Day. On the onset, I wish all our panelists and our attendees and all those who have joined us via Facebook a very happy Women's Day. Thank you for all that you do for us. Thank you for taking human race forward, and thank you for contributing for nation and nation building. Bureaucrats India is an online platform which was designed to celebrate the stories of good governance. From the day of our inception, we have been trying to capture the good work being done by our bureaucrats across India. And in the past few years, we have had a privilege to have various senior bureaucrats grace our platform and be present with us in various Bureaucrats India dialogue as well as webinar series. Today, we have with us three illustrious bureaucrats. We have with us Rashid Ogram, ma'am. She is an IPS officer of 2012 batch. She holds a degree and MBA, and she has worked previously in Standard Chartered Bank. Currently, she is posted as SP GRP Jodhpur. Previously, she has served as SP Vigilance, SP Barmer, SP Hanuman Nagar. She is known for speaking her mind out. A brave and courageous lady herself. Will be looking forward to knowing her story. We also have with us Archana Verma, ma'am, a very hardworking bureaucrat, a mother, and a very diligent professional herself. She is an IAS officer of 2014 batch from UP cadre. She is a mechanical engineer by training and has a degree in public administration. She is currently posted as Hapur Pilkhua Development Authority, BC, and she has previously worked as Joint Magistrate, Barabanki, STM Gonda, CDO Muzaffarnagar. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. We look forward to listening to you. We also have with us Dr. Priyanka Singh, an IRS officer of 2018 batch. Dr. Priyanka is a bureaucrat by profession and a doctor by training. And as she was saying a few moments ago, that she'll remain a doctor for life. Dr. Priyanka is a first generation bureaucrat and a job holder in her family. And that is something indeed inspiring. And we look forward to listening to her story. She is currently posted as Deputy Commissioner of Income Tax in Delhi, ITO. She is an avid reader, a painter, and she will be sharing with us some valuable insights today. To moderate this session, we have a very special guest with us, Dr. Ashima Singh. She is the Associate Professor at Media Studies, Amity University. Her career has spanned for around 2 decades, and she is also a consultant with UNICEF. She'll be moderating this session today and will be taking this conversation forward. Over to you, Ashima, ma'am. Please do the needful.
Thank you so much, Shweta. Thank you so much, Dr. Anand, for this beautiful opportunity. I feel more empowered with more powerful women around me today. Thank you. Thank you all for joining. I would just start with some sentences from famous writers who say, you have to be consistent. You have to be yourself. You have to be committed to what you are doing. You have to be afraid. You should not have to be afraid to be more ambitious. So I think everybody has their own beautiful story of struggle and achievement. I would like to start this amazing story with Dr. Priyanka, as I get to know during this pre-work through session that you are also a doctor, and you have been going through all amazing journey of your studies, of your career, and you are finally an IRS officer. So what is your journey? What was what is the main thing which helped you achieve more after achieving one important degree? So I really wish to understand, and our audiences would like to understand that what gives you push for more and more ambition.
First of all, thank you for having me on this coveted platform. So as you asked, I'll start with one thing about my community, about my immediate society from which I belong. It's patriarchal and it's very traditional in a way that women are thought to belong to kitchen or within the insides of the wall of the house. And earning women is considered as unnatural. I found it very funny, this concept that we have ourselves, the society has unnaturally created these, glass ceilings, these discriminations, what is unnatural and what is natural, that an earning woman will be considered as unnatural. A woman is, only considered in my society, in my immediate society, to, the main function is for a woman, they are born to bear children and look after the family, and that's it. I refuse to accept this narration because this is unnatural. This is exactly unnatural, and that's why this was the basic thing which actually, exonerated me to go out of the way. So academically, I tried to did my best rather. So even after achieving this degree, since I belong to that society where civil services is considered as very coveted, and ladies, especially in the role of civil servant, they are honored. And in my family and extended kinship, there was no one, in any job, any woman in any job. So I was first generation English, student, English school medium student. So after becoming a doctor, I found myself as financially independent, and now I was in in decision making position. So I once I heard this phrase that women take care and men take charge, I immediately refused this. No, women take better care when they take charge, and I will take charge. So this so idea of becoming a civil servant was obviously it got instilled from the very beginning when I was a school kid, but it could materialize, and I could crystallize this only after being financially independent. So and that's how it happened. As a civil servant, a doctor turned bureaucrat, that journey happened.
That's very interesting to know that you are the first one in your family to even go out for a job.
Yeah.
And did you have forces which were pulling you back?
Lots of them. Lots of them were there. The whole mindset that who belong to where. I think that I have created a space, and I will say I belong here. So the barriers you are asking is the mindset, and not only the outside forces, it was inside, the lack of confidence, the ever every day when you get to listen that some or the other way, the one gender is less inferior to the other, then you tend to have some doubts inside you. And I think the biggest hurdle which I overtook was that this underconfident nature of mine. So somehow I could tackle it, and this was the biggest barrier.
You could see how confident you are now. You're beaming with confidence. That's so wonderful to see.
Amazing.
We will move on to Ashima ma'am because she will be leaving early. So you want hear as much as you can from her. Ashima ma'am, what has been your inspiring force? And you are in police service. Police, especially a service that is considered male dominant. So and you are a woman who speaks her mind. You are known to be very strong, opinionated woman. So what inspires you to be the woman you are today?
Hello, everyone. I do agree with you that police service is considered to be a male-dominated service. And it's a very big irony that it's more than 30 years that first female officer, first female police officer, Ms. Kiran Bedi, who is an inspiration for everyone. And it's been 30 years since she, is in service, was in service. And still we have miles to go ahead. But I would like to clarify, and what Dr. Priyanka also said, that it is all very psychological, and it's all in the conditioning that the society puts on us, on the female, that this is a female dominated thing, these females cannot do this, that male can do it better. And women before me and women after me are also going to prove this theory wrong, that police service is a male dominated area. But I have been very fortunate in my upbringing, I shall say. I have a younger sibling. We are two sisters, and never in my upbringing did anywhere I face this issue that my parents, stopped me from doing something. In fact, as you mentioned in my bio, in my introduction, that I was an MBA student, and I was telling someone here that after my MBA, I was 25, 26 when I left my job. And my mother, first time in my life, I saw my mother bit tithering, that it's time for you to settle down, a marriageable age for you. But my father supported me and said that if I want to pursue another career, or if I'm not satisfied with currently what I'm doing, so he supported me. So I think whatever I am today, family plays a society, your upbringing, your nurture plays a very big role in that. And somehow I have been lucky. I have not been held back I did not have any such circumstances where I had to prove myself again and again. I was always got very supportive environment, and the boldness or everything comes out of it. When you know when you are right, when you know when you are doing something right. And I think female officers need to be bolder than their male counterparts. They need to work harder to prove themselves. And I know they are saying that men and women are equal and everything, but the glass ceiling does exist, and we need to break it and prove it at every point. And every female here will agree with me that we have to work harder, and we have to be bolder to prove us, to put our points across. And I think the rest follows. The success follows.
I have a small question, might sound like a repetition from Rashidji. Rashidji, did you ever feel that you have to prove, you have to be masculine to prove your power during work?
No, not at all. Great. I feel that, in fact, I'm very feminine. If you see me without uniform, you would see that I deck up a lot. And I make it a point to deck up a lot, because people have this image of police officer having short hairs and, being masculine and trying to prove. But that is what I'm saying. We don't have to behave like male officers to be good at our job. We are what we are. And specifically, this is another perception that because this is a male dominated field, you need to have certain characteristics like male officers too. But this is not true. And we are a progressive society. We want to be in the 21st century. We want to have a European police, like a foreign police force. We want to be very polite, very, like friendly policing, you are saying. So I would feel that women should contribute something in that area, that people do not have this negative image of police, whereas people have a very positive image of police. And I think women have a lot to contribute in that.
Thank you, Rashidji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I would really appreciate that the points you all are putting up, and we are actually recording it, and my students would love to see this kind of power which is like transpired right now. Thank you so much. Archana ji, I'll come to you.
May I?
Achha, okay. Yes,
Rashid.
No,
I just want to put, because you brought your students this point. Yes. Then I would tell them, I would ask them to come join civil services, because across all panelists, whether it is Miss Archana or Dr. Priyanka, they all will tell you that the kind of power to make a change and to make a difference that we have, it's something that young people do not get it in any other field. Not so much responsibility and power is accorded to young people that we have been given in this field. So this is one more motivating factors for your students or for any young generation to come and contribute in nation building. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashidji. I look forward for more sessions. Thank you so much. Archana ji, coming to you now. You have been keenly listening to all of us. And my question to you would be that, is there any childhood memory of being a feminist with you?
Let me tell you that we were raised by a very feminist father.
Great.
And actually there were people around who used to wonder how can a man at that generation would be like this. Because we were three sisters. I have one younger sister, one elder. And there were people around us, because I come from a normal middle class family and from a community where agriculture and such things are very important. So people believe that there should be a male child in the home, because otherwise the property will go when you understand all these things of the of our culture. So I remember there were people who used to say that why don't you people go for a son, and you should actually, there should be a son in the family. And my mother and my father both, they used to reply in a very clear cut way that we need to educate our children, and we don't believe that it is very important to have a son. Secondly, if we are having so many of kids, we are not sure that we are going to give them as good education as we can give to a lesser number of children. So those things were enrooted in our, upbringing actually. And I must say that there have been incidences when I opted for mechanical engineering. There were people, that was 2006, there were people around me who said कि mechanical is not good for girls. Mechanical तो नहीं लेती हैं लड़कियां. Why did you opt that? And my father and my mother both supported me. Then what happened, I opted to join power sector, and you would not find many women joining power sector even now. In private sectors also, power is or steel is a very different sort of industry, and there are very less women, and even if they are there, they are quite sidelined. Then I realized that everywhere you go, there is a difference, there is some sort of sexist attitude. But when I joined civil services, I realized that this seat gives you immense power, as Rashi ma'am was saying. This seat gives you that sort of power that people start looking up to you. They won't see you as a gender, as a second gender or anything like that. So one memory I would like to mention, that when I was around 18, there was a astrologer friend of my, I think my mamaji's, and he said ki this girl is going to do something big in in her life, because I was academically good, I must say good. And then he said ki she will be like your beta. That was very very strange. My mother said ki what do you mean by telling this to us, कि she will be like your beta. He said कि ये बड़ा नाम करेगी and ये होगा वो होगा. Then later when I cleared, there were some people who when I cleared UPSC examination, there were some people who came to us, and few of them actually mentioned that now she's as good as a son. Can you believe that? This was really, I think, in a we were happy, but this comment was something which actually shows the mindset of our society. Where do we live in? Means whatever you do, and wherever you reach, people still want you to become someone who's as good as a son. So things have been harsh, but I think women have proved their path, including me, including you, and including many women around us. So I think that that is something which actually gives us the courage, gives us the motivation to go on. And I believe the next generations will actually carry this forward, and the upcoming generations won't have to face at least such sort of hidden patriarchy in the subtle comments.
Very rightly put by you, ma'am. Even when a woman achieves something, she's compared by a man with a man. Which is so wrong in so many ways. That exactly, she's an equal, not an subordinate. My next question is for all three of you. Being a woman, it is often said that you have to maintain a balance between family and your work. You can't be good at both, especially when you're a mother. How challenging does it become? And have you ever heard some comment that is off-putting regarding the same? Or all three of you, whoever wishes to start first can go.
I would say that, there is this saying that behind every successful man, there is a woman. And on this Women's Day, I would say behind every successful woman, there is a family. You need to have a family support, no doubt, because actually, I think the generation of women are still conditioned that even if we are working, we have to look at our home, not maybe personally do stuff, but to manage stuff. I think we are conditioned like that. Maybe the next generation, which we raise, that will be, I think, more balanced, and they will have less expectations from them and of themselves when it comes to managing the household work and the office. But I would like to put across the point that everything we do is, if you are married, it's a unit, and you have your responsibility, and the responsibility should be shared. It's not that whether the woman is doing it, or the man is doing it, or the family is doing it. Whoever is doing it, that has to be acknowledged. Half the problem with our country is that the domestic female, person who is a housemaker or a homemaker, her work is not acknowledged, either economically or economic terms, or in terms of emotions or the physical energy she puts. So when, as a working woman, I look after my home in whatever respect, then my family acknowledges it, that I am taking out time from my work and doing something extra. Off-putting comments have not been very, I have not received them, but obviously people do ask that how do you manage it? Your family must suffer. And because my husband is also in services, so every time we cannot be in the same post. So then this is the price you pay, I would say, and we play it gladly, because this is what we wish to, this was my aim, to be a IPS officer, to come into services. So I have to manage. Sometimes you are in field and you don't have time, but then you take out time. Sometimes you do a non-field posting where you can, have a relaxed atmosphere at work so that you can give more time to your family. So it has to be a balance. It has to be a healthy balance.
Pointing out to patriarchy, I think that patriarchy is most nurtured by females only. So we have been taking it forward knowingly or unknowingly, and that is one issue I think we all need to understand, that we are not fighting men. We are actually fighting this kind of system we have been raised, and we should not be nurturing something which is not that much needed now. Yes, Priyanka ma'am, any thoughts on this?
You're on mute.
You're on mute, ma'am.
So I'll just quickly mention something about first question about being a mother and balancing work and life, like work-life balance. I'll just say there's nothing like work-life balance. You will have to maximize in the work as well as in your personal life, and that's how the system works. There, if you look if you want to have always this thing called utopia, this thing work-life balance, you'll always be having headaches. There's nothing like that. So I simply forget about that. I'll try to maximize at both the ends. The second thing is that when this off-putting thing you asked. So sometimes I was said when I'm at my in-laws' place, people will just say, ki, looking at you, nobody can think that if you even work, you even go out and work. Forget about being an officer. So rather than taking it as an off-putting sentence, I take it as a compliment. When I'm in a mothering role and like a daughter-in-law, I'm behaving like that. And that's how you can't even imagine sitting me in my office and like you're sitting me right now, like you are watching me right now sitting in my office. And when I'm in my office, I make sure that I do my best so that people remember me as a good officer. So that's the thing about your first question. Second is about the patriarchy. Yes, one thing which can actually reduce this mindset is that we never should stereotype anything. Whether I want to be a housewife, that should be my personal choice. Nothing should be imposed. Whether I wish to go out and work, that should be my choice. Nothing should be imposed. And the patriarchy actually works the other way around. It imposes, it creates stereotypes. One gender has to be like that. Because of the patriarchy, not only women, men also suffer. They are overburdened with over expectations. So that's how patriarchy affects all of us, all the human beings, not just one gender. And we can reduce it by just removing this stereotypes from, and that will go away when we are socialized in that way. So maybe next generation we can expect to socialize that way. So nothing is imposed on anyone.
Ma'am, your comments.
Yeah. Archana ma'am, your comments.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Taking to the first question, you talked about patriarchy. Patriarchy is carried forward by women for sure. I must say that. Of course, men also have been trained to believe that women have this role and men have this role. But if you actually talk to the people who are coming from a typically simple background, I must say that we are actually privileged women. Honestly, I must say that we sitting on this position, we are privileged women, and we can have some staff at our place. We can have babysitters, but there are women, and I talk to people. I talk a lot when I find teachers or anyone who is a working woman, but who is not earning enough to have a full time 24-hour maid or 24-hour babysitter. I find them struggling a lot. So I would speak not only on my behalf, but I would speak on their behalf also. That if that patriarchy is ingrained in our upbringing, I'll speak for our generation actually. And as we all know that we would not raise such generation, I'm sure about that. I believe that women have to suffer a lot, because if you find a teacher who is teaching in a primary school, she will wake up at around 5, and then she'll cook the breakfast, then she will arrange everything, then she will leave for the school where she will take care of kids or whatever she does. I think she would not be able to give her 100% after doing a lot of work. There are exceptional women, they would be doing that, but that would be definitely difficult for her. And then she'll come back at around 3, then she'll cook again, then she'll take care of the children, then she will be maybe doing the preparations for the dinner, and so and so and so. So if you talk about women, we should talk about all women, the anyone who is not as privileged as we are. And if I talk about myself, definitely after becoming a mother, I realized that it is one of the most difficult things I had ever done in my life. And my life had never been very easy, I must say. So after being a mother, my daughter is 2.5 years old right now. And it is really difficult because there are times when she doesn't sleep at all. She won't sleep for the whole night. She will just wake up and start shouting, and then she will not listen to anyone. She'll just come to mama. And next day I may have a meeting, I may have to go to some place, some official schedules might come up. So there are difficult days, and there are days when she's not well. And you know that yesterday only I was discussing with someone that why do we give the CCL to women? We should also make this a system that men also take part in that upbringing thing, that they should be allowed to take more and more part. We are providing, as bureaucrats, I must say that we are providing 6-month maternity leave just for the breastfeeding concept is there. But I think that as a part of government or as a system who supports working women, we should actually make it more flexible, and we should ensure that women, the husbands, they also take more participation in the whole child raising thing. So that would actually make life easier for all of us, for the privileged women, for less privileged women, and for maybe anyone who is working in the government sector. So that is how it is. But I think the work-life balance thing which you talked about, that is definitely a strange phenomena. I believe that we should not think about that superpower thing. We should just try to be a good officer or whatever we are doing in our limited capacity. And you know that anyone, if we talk about the men in our society, they are also actually managing both roles. I talk to my staff, and there are some days when they take a day off because they have to go for vaccination of their children, and the women in the family can't drive. They don't have a driver. So I think work-life balance is there for everyone, but for women, it is definitely difficult, because we are trained that we have to take care of the groceries, if the we have to take care of all the bed sheets, and the guests are coming. Even after you are having a lot of staff and people taking care of your family, even then you are in the managerial role. All the time the women are in the managerial role in this generation. And as Rashima, I think she very rightly said that the next generation would be better. And I believe that we'll raise such generation.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Rashi ma'am will have to leave due to some commitment. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. If you have any parting comments, please, any message for our
No.
audience?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for hosting such an event. Thank you for inviting us to such an event, and hope this discussion, this interaction continues, and people benefit from it. And I just wish that the day comes when we don't have to celebrate Women's Day on a single day. We do need it now, but I hope that it is like every other day is also our day. So,
thank you so much, ma'am. We hope for the same.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. My colleague Vidya has a question. I'll ask her to unmute herself and go forward and ask the question.
Hello, everyone. My question is, when we are talking about work-life balance, तो एक बात वो भी आती है कि women मतलब उन्हें allow किया जाता है कि ठीक है, you can work, तुम काम करो, but then there is a choice of profession which they are not allowed to have. मतलब they cannot choose their profession by themselves. उन्हें कहा जाता है ठीक है, अगर आपको जॉब करनी है तो आप इस तरीके के, you can be a teacher, which is मतलब considered as a more comfortable job. You have to give few hours. Yeah, night shifts, you should not do night shifts. तो इस तरीके से situations आती हैं कि when they, because उनको माना जाता है कि they can only have a work-life balance, they can take care of children and family when they are doing a job जो कि more, which is more convenient for them, which is considered to be more convenient, and then they are asked कि see, we are allowed, you are allowed to do. मतलब उनकी families उन्हें बोलती हैं कि हम लोग allow कर रहे हैं, देखिए हमें तो ऐसा, हमारी ऐसी सोच नहीं है. We have allowed our women, हमारी family में जो हमारी wives हैं, daughters, we have allowed them, वो कर रही है job. तो इस पे आप please अपनी comments बताइए.
I would like to have Ashima ma'am's comment on this as well, because she is a teacher herself, and I want to know how well she is balancing that.
Yes, I actually relate to this question, and this is also an answer to Archana ma'am's initial discussion. I am also raised by a feminist grandfather. So we are all empowered. And Vigya, for your question of being a teacher and then creating a work-life balance is easier. No, it is not.
Yeah.
Now, teaching, if you're doing a 9-to-5 job, okay, and you're just trying to earn money, it's okay. But if you are into a profession and you are more and more into love with that profession, it's no more a 9-to-5 job. It is beyond that. You have to travel, you have to do so much of research. You want your all me time for your study and for your further researches. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. There are times when you have to sit in a closed room with your books, and even your daughter, your son, your family is outside, and you have to just sit and you just have to focus. So nobody can command you, and you have to create your own environment like that, because you have to create your own pointers, your own circles. So there are circles which I have tried to create around me, that nobody enters this particular energy of me, and that's only mine, not even my own child. So one needs to understand that very much. Only then you'll be able to give justice to what you are doing in terms of your profession, in terms of what all you have studied so much, you want to impart it. So your own connectivity to your own profession talks a lot about your personality as well.
I would also like to do something.
Yes.
Since I felt very relatable with your every single word, my family, allowed me to do something.
Yes.
And, you gave example of teacher. There are some vocations which are grouped under pink collar jobs. And the middle class societies, in those societies, girls are usually allowed, if at all, they're usually allowed to choose from among the pink collar job, because then the family, then the parents and the grandparents, they save their face in the society, so that they can answer to the people outside in the society, because middle class family, they're always going to answer their society for whatever thing they are going to do with their own family even. So I would say that we all have got one life, and whatever we do after death, we will be remembered by that. So it is our own choice. You take risks, you make choices, and you take charge of your life. And you, howsoever long you will have to wait. Like I waited till I became financially independent, as well as independent decision maker for my own life. So I ultimately chose whatever I wish to do with my life. So this is the way I think uh, the ladies, the women out there, they can follow this. That you have to take charge of your life, take risk. You just don't sit inside your cocoon, and surrounded by people who only praise you because you cow down to their their dictums. And remember only one line, that you have got just one life. So so choose very wisely.
Ashima ma'am, would you like
Thank
to
you.
add something to it? Ma'am, you're on mute, I believe.
Ashna ma'am, you're mute.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah, I was listening to Dr. Priyanka and all of you actually, and it was very apt that yes, there are people, there is our society which actually believes that we have allowed our women to do a go outside of the family and then work and then become financially independent. So, but on certain conditions, and the conditions being that you have to take care of the family also, and if there's a day when your child is ill, then you have to take leave. And if there are guests at the home, means I'm just talking about many families. So I think that as society we need to learn what we learn something which we hadn't learned earlier, that men also had the same responsibilities actually. And this is why we have created this sort of biases in our head, that women are the only ones who are going to take care of the family. If you I have my friends, most of my friends are outside India, and I really wonder that the men they have married, of course, Indian men only, and then also they are helping in every household work when they are in USA, and as soon as they come back to India, they are again the same same person. So this is very strange. Second thing I must say, as an engineer, that all these things would definitely go away with the advancement of the technology also. There was COVID times, the 6 month gap, and at that time I was on my maternity leave. We didn't have any staff at that time because the first wave was very scary, and we all were very scared. So there was no staff. I was doing each and every work of my daughter myself. And at that time I was at my home, so my mother was cooking. We are doing we are taking care of the groceries, of the clothes of my child. The with a 6 months old child, there's a lot of work, lot of stuff. And then I realized that it is very important to have advanced machines, and that can actually help you. We bought a dryer at that time because it was very difficult to go outside and wait for the sun, and then waiting for all the stuff to dry out. I'm just telling all these things that actually as society, as engineers, and as doctors also, I think when we start thinking about these things, that what are the actual factors which are holding us down, which are holding the women down, then only we can find the solutions. When if you remember, and we all are almost from the same age group, I believe. I'm 34 right now. So if you think about the days when there were no washing machines, I really pity, on the women of our family. So exactly the same things happened. The inventions have actually helped a lot. And for the women who can't have a full-time maid, full-time help, these things actually work a lot. So I must say that we should not think these things in the only sociological terms. We should also try to find solutions, try to find a way out of all these in other ways also. And I believe that parallelly, because when things are mechanized, if you talk about the developed nations, there are they cook everything in the microwave, and they do every stuff with the machines also, and they are not trained like us, they are not conditioned like us कि घर पे ही खाना बनाना है, 2 time तो घर पे ही खाना है. So I believe that if our society is as advanced as theirs is, they can actually have food hygiene outside also. So if as society we arrange these things, then only our women can actually be free to go outside and to be relieved of that burden of taking care of every household work. And the science can actually do justice to that. So I just brought that point up because I believe that it has helped us a lot when we were not that privileged. This has actually helped me a lot. So I
A
must say कि
very vital point you raised here, that with advancement of technology, the workload that women shoulder, it eases up at certain level. And we have seen it in Ujjwala Yojana, when our government started providing LPG cylinder, how it helped women in villages living in rural areas. Over the past few years, government has launched a series of schemes for, especially for women empowerment. And you people being the women of government, how have you seen its impact on the society? How has it impacted our women, and how it has contributed towards women empowerment on the ground level? Can you share a few instances and examples?
Yeah, I will just like to comment about one very good yojana. And this I witnessed during my MBBS days. So there's something called Naari Shakti, Kishori Shakti Yojana. So young women and Kishori means when they attain their menstruation. So the young girls, they are helpless during those situations because of lack of information, as well as lack of availability of resources. So this I was having first-hand experience when I witnessed that the young girls, when they attained their this menstruation, they were properly informed, they were being informed about these things, that this is very physiological and natural thing, nothing to worry, nothing to hide, and how to maintain hygiene, menstrual hygiene. And the subtext, and yes, that what is called read between the lines, what it was doing was, it was removing one very big taboo which is attached to this menstruation thing. So and in that society which is very backward, so I would agree that a huge impact are being generated for government yojanas like Kishori Shakti Yojana.
Archana ma'am, any schemes or government projects which you have seen have an impact on
yeah,
government?
I believe I want to stick to some one scheme for sure, but definitely if you think about the basic issues women, especially the women who lives in villages, they are facing. So definitely Yojana has its very impact on the lives of such women, because definitely if you want to change a life, you need to think about the basic issues she is facing. Like as Dr. Priyanka said, that the menstruation thing, obviously there were days when there were no tampons or no resources available. And then women, there were certain reasons that women, I shouldn't say women, the girls after 14 13, they would stop going to school. So this one biological reason was giving society reasons to stop them. Secondly, as you mentioned, Ujjwala Yojana, definitely because these things have impact on their health, for sure. That would definitely take a lot of time. Women were going to collect wood, and so and they are, they are actually spending their limited time. We all have 24 hours, and they are spending a lot of that time in searching for resources for their families. So I believe that definitely these schemes have actually done quite a good job. But I must say that there should be more women-centric schemes. These are coming like because I am from UP, I must say that there was a scheme, as we all know that in UP also and in many other states also, the birth of a girl child is not celebrated in that way. So there was this Mukhyamantri Kanya Sumangala Yojana that was good, because there were certain conditions that if that is your first child or second girl child, then you would be given money for this purpose, for her education and for her marriage and for number of things. Then there was a scheme of some Vivah Yojana in UP especially. And because if you are from a rural area, there are people who are actually bothered about the expenses they have to make in the marriage. And I'm not talking about the dowry only. There are expenses because you have to greet the families, the barats and all. So there was a Samuhik Vivah Yojana, and as CDO we actually did a lot. There were very marginalized families who were taking participation in that. So I believe there are things, there are startup schemes, and they actually help women a lot. Because I have seen young entrepreneurs coming up. I have seen some women who actually came to us as CDOs. We were CDOs and we were heading some committees for the loan disbursement. And I have seen many young ladies coming to us for the loan, and because they want to establish their own businesses. They were trying to go for a parlor or tent house or many sort of businesses. And it is very good. Of course, as government, definitely you can bring a lot of change through the scheme. So I think that that is good. But I also believe that more women-centric schemes should come, either it be in the health sector or education sector or their financial empowerment. More and more needs to come, because we are still still at not that place where we aspire to be.
Yes, I truly agree about this. One thing which I forgot to mention was that I missed something which should be women-centric in the field of financial education. There should be some countrywide program regarding financial education, focusing especially women across the ages.
Yeah, definitely, because financial independence is one thing that empowers any individual, not just women, even a man, anybody. But when you have financial independence, you can take your decisions, you can decide where your life goes, and not having that.
I would like to just mention one point. I talked to my many friends, and most of the females are still in that position when they only know about the savings. And if I talk to them that what about the investment, they say my husband is taking care of that. What about the home loan? My husband is taking care of that. So I believe that and my friends are from a very good background, of course. So I think that this is this is in our head, that men will take care of finances, but we should change that. And we should make our women more aware. They should know about every sort of investment, every sort of savings, and all about the financial terms.
Exactly. It's not just the men or women. We have to undergo a behavioral change ourselves as well. How we perceive ourselves, how we perceive our lives to be, we have to change that in our minds as well. Because even now, I see in my family as well, if any of my sisters are going out, my mom will say, "Bhai ko saath le lo," if they're going at night. So that is one thing that, and even we feel sometimes safe if we have a male with us. So that is something that is so deeply inculcated in us that we feel like, ha, yahi sahi hai. So that is something that we have to change as well. As ma'am mentioned, menstrual hygiene, especially even in menstrual hygiene, I don't know how many girls can talk about that. Even educated girls can talk about it openly. We still buy sanitary napkin wrapped in a paper, given in a plastic bag so that nobody sees it. That's the shame attached with it. And it's for something that is so natural. It's for something that is the reason why we are here, and still so much of shame. So that is something that
availability of sanitary napkins is a challenge कि हर जगह नहीं available होते हैं, and not to everyone. So at workplaces, malls, कहीं पे भी this should be like basic necessity which should be available everywhere for women. वो भी एक बहुत बड़ा challenge है.
Right. But still, I would like to put a point, which is a positive point, that there's a beautiful state in our country which celebrates menstruation, and that's the Rajrappa festival. So we can take our awareness notes from our ancestors, from our history also. So we must understand that this is not a bimari. This is something which is making the whole community complete. So one needs to have an awareness on that as well. Vigya and Shweta, I had a question for both of you also. That you are young professionals. How are you managing your peer pressures of growing as per your male counterparts, and how you're managing your work-life balance with your family. Vidya, first you, please.
Okay, sure. So I've recently got married. So I have I have few set of points which I can discuss. So when we were talking about financial independence, so I have felt this because of the societal pressure. Even if boys are ready to cooperate with their wives, then they are very supportive. They are very open-minded. But the kind of mindset their family has, sometimes because of that, they have like financial independence. I had this discussion with my husband that we'll be contributing equally to everything, and I would love to we go out and we'll do it 50-50 kind of thing. We'll go Dutch. He'll say that he'll do the petrol, I'll do the like restaurant and everything, stay in. So we contributed ourselves, but we don't discuss. Sometimes we don't discuss with the family. Like it is if my husband is going out, he'll be paying for everything and he's taking charge of everything, and he is also he won't accept it in front of his family that my wife is also contributing to things. And so that is the thing. So it will be like no, in some things I cannot take help from you. And even if he wants to, like he wants like his wife to contribute, but there is one thing that this kind of societal pressure. So that is why like it will take some time to I want to say because of societal pressure, even boys who are open-minded, they will take some time to equally adapt to the situations that way.
Shweta, your view.
That is one thing.
I think all of you have mentioned some points which I can relate to in your particular speeches. But I'll mention I come from Bihar. It's a state which is not very developed, it's still developing, neighbor of Archana ma'am. So Bihar has a particular mindset when it comes to girls. And our government, the government that I was born in, Nitish Kumar, has done a lot towards women empowerment. So there has been certain change in mindset. But I'll just mention I was very lucky to be born in a family which never differentiated between boys and girls. Like, you are a girl, so you'll do these set of things. You'll opt this profession. This is your timeline. You have to get married at 25 and have kids by 30 and have a house by a certain time. So no timeline was set for me. When that kind of independence is given to you to decide your timeline, what you want to do at your pace, that kind of empowers you. And me commenting on something women empowerment might not be fair because I never had to go through a lot of things that other women might have to face. So if I say why somebody is not taking up higher education, I don't know their condition. So me commenting on that will be wrong. I'll just say that it's not very difficult for me because I'm privileged. I'm very privileged. I come from a very privileged family. So I don't have to face a lot of things that women generally do. Be it talking on certain issue. I'm opinionated and I have never been stopped. I work in a company which never stopped me from sharing my opinion or saying anything out loud, or dealing with clients just because I'm young or a woman, so I should not deal with a particular client. I should deal with a different sort of client. So I'm privileged, I would say. I'll just say I'm privileged and I have the freedom to make choices, and nobody has ever stopped me. Even when somebody questions me, it doesn't bother me because I was raised like that, raised to ignore the noise and just focus on whatever I have to focus. So that's it. And thank you very much for that question, Ashima ma'am. And we would also like to know from you what has been few female influences in your life, because you seem very opinionated as well. And we can definitely learn.
Your role model.
We would like to know this from all three of you, actually. Priyanka ma'am, Archana ma'am, and Ashima ma'am. What have been few of your female role models who have shaped how you see the world? We'll start with Priyanka ma'am. Actually, I'm very inspired by your story, given that you are the first generation bureaucrat and work.
In my case, I would say my first role model is my mother. So, and she continues to inspire me till date. So, because she has gone out of the way to tailor-made our thought process. So even belonging to such a traditional society, we could think very strong. We could think straight. We could take a stand regarding what is wrong and right, only because she made us that way. She made us courageous. I have two more siblings. So, and we all are in the same, or we all are having same mindset that we will challenge what is wrong, will not take anything wrong in our way. So that's why I take my mother as my role model. And second is, and that is an endless list. Whatever I feel myself fortunate for having lady bosses, and till now I'm having wonderful experience. They continue to inspire me. My recent boss, she once told me, Pranka, you will have to work 100% more than your male colleague, only then you will be considered as equal, and take it as raw as it is, because this is practically what it is, and this is what it is. So and these things only exhilarate yourself to work better and better. So yes, these are, I won't take high names. Yes, Mary, I read very much about Madam Marie Curie, but that is because of my inquisitiveness and curiousness about her. But my real life role model are these people who are ladies around me. Some are known, some are unknown to the society, but they are having, superpowers to inspire people like me.
And that's wonderful to know and very sweet to know as well. Archana ma'am.
I should also say that just because of my family and especially my father, I never faced any such issue, because marriage was not even the discussion in the family. I have heard from my family, from my friends, that once they were 21, 22, there were discussions of their marriages, and the people were getting married all the time, and their mothers or fathers telling them that this is the right age, or you should not go for higher education after BTech, because otherwise there are such people also. Then I should say that just because my father was an exceptional male for his age, and of course my mother also, I am especially mentioning my father just because he is from that gender that is always seen as the main, dushman for the whole feminist narrative. But that is not the case. That's why I'm mentioning that, because I have always seen him helping my mother in the cooking or every household work after his office also. So I was raised in such a situation when we never learned these things, that you are from this gender and that is your work. We never learned it. Later, when I went to college and then I started working and I met more and more people, I started living independently. Then I got to know that there are women and who are also getting the same education, who are going for MBA, and even then they have that sort of family pressure that they have very small time left, because they will be get married very soon, or in their family there are women or men who believe that this role is for this person, this gender. So whatever I have learned from the stories of the people surrounding me, and not from my individual stories, as as you said. So this is the case. But I should definitely say, once I joined the civil services in 2014, after that I have been very fortunate, as Dr. Priyanka also said. I have been very fortunate that I think I never got an actual lady officer, lady boss to work with. But still, all of the men, they have been very understanding, and I never faced the sexist attitude. There are people who say that there is some sort of differences. Definitely there would be, but I was fortunate that I never faced that. I was given the toughest of districts, and I think that during my pregnancy also, I must mention that I tried to work till the last day, and I just left before 1 week before my daughter was born. And till the last day, even the juniors, the seniors, the colleagues, everyone was so supportive. So I believe that the people around you, they actually they can help you achieve your goals, because there are biological issues. Definitely, if someone says that all women and men are equal, they are equal. Definitely, I agree, but in different ways. They need equal. They don't need equal treatment. They need similar treatment. because there are issues of menstruation, there are issues of pregnancy that will definitely, and then there are sociological barriers also. Those will actually hold women back. So I must say that the constant support of your family, which was there in my case, then the constant support of your surroundings is required. For example, we were discussing about motherhood, and we forgot to mention that most of the time, either my family has lived with me or my in-laws had lived with us. So when you have support of your family, it becomes very easier, and it becomes easier for women also and the men also, of course, especially in our kind of job. So I think this is a responsibility of whole society to make the society better and more supportive and more flexible for all of us.
Sure, ma'am. Couldn't agree more. Ashima, ma'am, your answer.
Thank you. Thank you, Shweta. I'll keep it very brief. My role model as a female was my nanny. And she was not a financially independent lady, but she was the one who was ruling the family. So I saw a ruler in her, even not she was financially independent. So I have taken many traits from her. And when I started my university learnings, one of my professors, Professor Pandey, was one who still now inspire me a lot. And these days, my learnings are from my 9-year-old daughter, because she is more emotionally balanced, and I am actually learning and unlearning many things from her. So that's how my inspiration goes. And of course, my amazing students, my amazing girls, female students, who always come up with something new and try to teach me something which I never knew, and make my life more easy. So that's the beauty of being a teacher. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that. I think you three will be a role model of many in coming future, are already and in coming future as well. Ashima ma'am will have to leave due to some engagement. Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us today. It was wonderful to have you here. We have few questions from the audience. We'll take that as we move towards the end. Shruti Sharma asked that after all these years in police, so I think this question was meant for Rashi ma'am, but I'll just generalize it. After all these years in service, what do you think? How has gender equality mindset evolved amongst people, especially your colleagues? I think she meant to ask, how has gender parity become a norm in bureaucracy? Have you seen it improve over years, or is the situation same?
Yeah, if you ask me, I'll say that in that way I have been blessed enough. I haven't seen much of the discrimination in my face, but there will always be one or the other kind of glass ceiling where while considering a particular nature of post, why should gender come up? But then sadly it comes up. But then those instances are limited. But in more general sense, it has evolved, and it has evolved for better. The gender equality sense has evolved for better, and thanks to the people, the bureaucrats who have worked before us, all the ladies and the gentlemen that they had given us, they had handed over the situation which has evolved.
I have a very personal question. Have you ever been called sir at your job?
Yes, sometimes that is rare. And I have observed that there's a pattern only, and a particular social, not by limited to a social, I would say, socio-economic strata.
Archana ma'am?
Talking about the sir thing, I think this is a norm in UP. As IS officers, we always listen to that word. I don't remember listening to ma'am or madam. Generally, most of most of the staff or the anyone who is working at home also, they always call us sir. So I'll take that question first. Then secondly, as you asked about the gender biases in the bureaucracy, I would talk about my service only because I think that I'm authorized to talk about that. And in IAS, I have spent 7 years around, 7 years, of course, and still I haven't faced any such case. I haven't seen that yet. There would be classism, I'm sure about that, because maybe at the senior levels there might be some, but we have been fortunate because we have seen women officers heading the most critical posts in IAS. The worst, I shouldn't say worst, the most difficult post women have held in this government also, previously also, always. So I must say that there might be some issues, but generally our political bosses also and our executive bosses also, they have seen people, they have seen women doing good, showing best performances, and that's why I should thank my predecessors that they have worked so well. They have earned that reputation that being a woman doesn't stop them from working, equally as good as a male counterpart. So I haven't faced that yet, and I should say that we are fortunate. I never faced that I am a lady, that's why I'm being given this post, and that's why I'm not being given this post. Till now, we have been fortunate.
That's good to know. Nana Jha wishes you all a very happy Women's Day, and her question is: what is the role of women? What role women as a tribe play in women empowerment? What is the role of women in women empowerment?
If you talk about just the women from services or from the society, then means it should be very clear. I think I will talk as an officer, then as a woman only. I should say that as a woman, right now I'm heading an organization, and there are only two ladies other than myself. And one is at MTS level. She's a class 4th employee, and the other one has just joined. She's an assistant engineer. And I actually previously mentioned that with the power of this seat, we get a lot of, already we get a lot of validation. But if you are joining as an engineer, that is also a male-dominated sector, you don't get that validation. So she's trying very hard, and I see that coming. So now, after spending 2 months, she started to get that attitude from the juniors. Initially they were trying to show that just because you are a woman, you don't know much about it, so let us handle all the work, you won't be going to sites and so and so. So I should say that I have tried to help her out, just because I am a woman, and this is some sort of moral duty for all of us to support our own breed in tough situations. And then when I am heading any organization on, because I am at a position when I can make things work, then I initially ensure that there should be washrooms for women. That is my first, very primary concern when I go to some office. There should be washrooms. There should be a basic support system for them. And most of the washrooms, if you go to most of the offices, if they are from a male-dominated organization, they would not be working. That is a very, very small thing, but parallelly, that is a very important thing. So as women, definitely, you do support a lot of women coming out of their cocoons. And for example, I had tried, there are a few ladies, whenever as part of our job, we keep meeting women who are not doing financially well. Then we try to help them out to get them trained through some government initiatives. Then we try to get them employed at some places. So we do that. And as if you talk about the society and general, without talking about the women who are officers and who are holding very powerful positions, I must say that, of course, women supporting women is a very big thing in colleges, in schools, in any sort of private setup, in any company, any factory. I have seen women women supporting women, and I have also seen women not supporting women. So I should say that women judging other women is wrong, because there are already many people out there who are judging you. So at least women should come out of that mindset. And I would like to mention one thing. I think it's yeah, already 5:20, but still I am married, and from 5 years, of course, and still there was a day when I was wearing sindoor, and one of my friends said, "Ki your in-laws are here, that's why you are wearing this." So women judging women is really strange, and they never said that, they never mentioned that. It's just it should be my choice. Similarly, when I took around 9-month leave for after my pregnancy, because first time mom is a very fussy mom, and I I was believing that I should give more and more time to my child, and that's why she's all pampered. Then also I was judged by many women also, that why are you taking so much leave, that will be very harmful for your career. I was also judged by men also at that time. So there are things, but I believe that as women we should not judge other women, because every struggle is different, and we should, what we can do is to support each other, at least.
Certainly, ma'am. Priyanka, ma'am, your comments.
Yeah, I would just I will make it brief that role of women in women empowerment can be through hand holding, or the other thing can be leading by example, so that they can follow. Women are already capable, and that's why we are even thinking of women empowerment.
Yes.
And now these two things are only required: to lead by example or provide hand holding.
Exactly. I was reading somewhere, somebody has said that women empowerment is all about changing how world perceives the strength of women, not about strengthening women because they are already strong. So it's just about changing how people perceive them. Dowry and other social issues are a bane for society. How, as an empowered woman, you are taking steps to check this menace of the society?
I think there was some network issue. You asked about dowry and what steps
dowry and other social issues. How, as empowerment, as an empowered woman, you are taking steps to check this menace of the society?
Your first step is to be opinionated and say it out loud. After attaining something, you actually are overburdened. You have to weigh each of your word, and because that may make or break your life as well as your profession and career. But as a empowered and strong woman, saying it out loud, because that will help the woman out there. That will help the general society. So this is first step I take at my personal level. And coming to particular thing about dowry, you said, in civil services, so there are perceived rates of this service, this much, this service, and this service, rank, kind of hierarchy. Much is still needed to be done in this regard, and very candidly I would accept this, that much is needed to be in this regard. And about other social ills, which I would presume that it is regarding wife beating, and considering the gender as weak, one gender as weak. I presume it as example. So here I would just say saying it out loud and leading by example and supporting when it comes to. So that's how most of my known people in civil services, they are doing.
Ashima, many comments?
Yeah, definitely. There are certain posts where you can actually directly affect such things. For example, when I was CDO, there were certain issues. There were times when we get to know about the complaints. But generally, dowry is something which is so ingrained in our roots that only some stringent action and certain things of certain legal advancements are not going to help, because there are already laws for that. There are already complaints. There are already cases of dowry which are being which are there, and there are people. But still, I must say that if as a society we start shaming this thing, then that will end. I met people who actually talk about that. They boast that now we have become an engineer and our son has become an engineer and doctor and so and so, and civil servant obviously, and an IAS and an IRS and an IPS. Then why shouldn't we go for it? The rate should be like this, and I'm saying it very openly. The second thing is, if I talk about my service, especially, I have seen that the dowry doesn't come in the exact same ways. There are so much of investment in the daughter's marriage, and that is all borne by the daughter's the means the family of the bride. So that is also one way in which I think that we should intervene with. For example, for our marriage, we decided that we won't spend much of the money. Definitely, we are not going to waste that. And we we got married with our own savings. I still get to hear from people that that was such a such a sasti marriage. Why did you even do that? But I believe that we actually did a good thing because we had money, we saved money, and I think that leading by example is one thing that we should do, because I have seen that friends, many friends from our own social circles, they have opted for that, and we have those discussions. I many a times I have mentioned that very clearly. So there are things parallelly, if you actually widen the whole groom hunting thing, just because we have to find a groom from a certain class, from a certain job, from a certain caste, religion, and so and so. There are reasons that the availability of grooms is lesser. So if you talk to me about this issue, then I think there is a lot I can say, but because the time is very less right now. So I would just say that you need to empower the whole breed of women. When they end up believing that marriage is not the sole purpose of a woman's life, then only this thing is going to end. Otherwise, only government interventions are not going to end it. That's very simple.
That's all the questions we had. Any closing comments for our audience and our platform? We'll start with Archana ma'am, and then we'll move to Priyanka.
Yeah, I believe that there should be a day when we won't celebrate this day, as we all dream for that day. And I believe that women would be empowered when we end up believing that there are no gender stereotypes. Okay, any woman can go outside, any woman can earn, and any man can sit in the house and take care of the house. That would be a real women empowerment. And when we as women and the other part of our society, we all start believing that, that would be the best day of our lives. And I hope that we all raise such generation, and it will be easier for women, next generation women.
Priyanka.
So I would just say I would cherish the day when pragmatism gives way to lots of women in leadership role around us in the society.
We all hope for that day, and we hope that we see that day soon. In 1951, when the first lady IAS officer, Anna Raja Malhotra, was appearing her examination and she was in front of selection committee, she was advised to choose Indian Forest Service and ICS. And today we see so many women IAS officers, including Archana ma'am, and women in all the services who are doing an amazing job, taking initiatives that are breaking glass ceilings, taking human race forward, and contribution towards nation building. We are so thankful to all of you. We are so grateful for the work you do. And we are so thankful that you took out time today and joined us for this session. Thank you very much for joining us today. Once again, a very happy Women's Day to you and to all our audience. And we hope and we wish that soon we won't have to gather around just one day to celebrate women. And we celebrate it every single day. Thanks once again for joining us today. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.
Thank you, Shweta. Thank you, Shweta. Thanks, Bureaucrats India, for giving us a chance to come here and speak our minds out. Thank you.
Thank you. It was wonderful listening to you.